Hi, I'm Rich. I've just been doing a bit more work on my motorbikes, and yeah, I found a few more little jobs on my CX500, so I just thought I'd show you what I'm actually doing. Let's go and have a look, shall we? So, this is a bike I did a video on, would have been a couple of weeks ago or so anyway. Almost ready to MOT. So literally all I've done to the bike so far is stick a new battery on, put a bit of fresh fuel in, and as I mentioned on one of the previous videos, I've fitted a new master cylinder, so and bled all the brakes through. So anyway, I was kind of just doing a few other sort of servicey bits, so just checking tyre pressures and things like that. I've done the full engine oil change now. But I haven't done the final drive oil yet. I'm going to do that very soon. But when I pumped the tyres up, I just had to wheel the bike outside just to wheel it towards the car, just so I could get the compressor to the tyres effectively. It was the easiest way to do it. And by the time I wheeled the bike back in, it was just really difficult to push. So by all accounts, just operating the front brake, both calipers are just seized up. So as you can see, I've got the caliper here on the left side of the bike off, and I've got the caliper on the right side of the bike off. So they look like they're in pretty good nick, but clearly they're seized. The bike has sat now probably for best part of 10 years, just not being used at all really. So the oil in the engine was it was just horrible. It was black, it was very petrol-y, and with a gravity-fed machine, carbs, potentially you will get fuel, finding its way down into the engine block. Anyway, it will just kind of, potentially continue to run into the float bowls and through the carbs and into the cylinders and into the fuel and so on. So anyway, done a full oil change there, so that's all nice. Yeah, so these have locked, pair of them have locked up, so I had to sort of fettle them off to to sort of get them away from the discs, and I've got two rebuild kits on order, so I shall get those done. So I was quite interested actually to know if that was the only issue. There's absolutely tons, if you look here you can see, absolutely tons of meat on these calipers. So when I get on the calipers, on the pads, they're both exactly the same. If they were uneven at all, there you go, there's that one as well. I'm not sure if that's... Anyway, I'll have a much better inspection of them once I've taken those pads out. I'll have a much better idea of their actual condition once I've got them out and I can see the faces of those pads anyway. So, but yeah, I was kind of interested to know what were the other causes of brakes seizing up. So, it could actually be really dirty lines. Well, they bled through okay and they operated okay. But you can see actually, so I'm going to do the rebuild first, and if that doesn't fix it, right there, and you probably can't see it. Let me turn it around. I'm sure you'll be able to see it. Yeah, there you go. You can see it there. It's a slight kink in the pipe there, which was already there. It wasn't caused through this being sort of left at an awkward angle or anything like that. So I'll get them rebuilt and back on, and then I'll operate them and see if they're working normally, bleed the system through obviously, and then if not, it's probably going to be these pipes. So it's kind of, you've got one there and one there, and then that goes up to sort of a cylinder there, sort of a banjo unit there, and then you get a single pipe running up to the master cylinder, so hose I should say. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'll do. So that's kind of a last little job. The only other thing with this bike is just checking the air filter, which is on this model is buried under the seat. So I just need to get that off and do that, and I'm probably going to go and get a new seat cover. As you can see, that's been taped up with gaffer tape. sort of fairly common for a bike of this age. But anyway, that's the only bad marks on this bike. The paintwork is absolutely impeccable, and the chrome is all pretty good. There's literally no pitting or rusting or anything like that. The engine block just needs a bit of a clean up, but I've not cleaned it at all since I've had it. So that's it really, and that should be ready to MOT then. So I'm looking forward to getting that done and giving it a bit of a ride out. Yeah, the reason I didn't do the final drive oil, which will be just sort of round down the back end there, is because at the time when I did the engine oil, I couldn't get the bike back onto its centre stand. So I took it, I did the engine oil, and then I moved the, you know, because obviously you have to keep it level on the centre stand really, don't you? And then for whatever reason I'd moved it off its stand and went and did the tyres, and then by the time I got the bike back in the garage, couldn't get it back on its centre stand again, purely because the front wheel wouldn't turn because the brakes were locked on, so it wouldn't let me pull it on, that's all. So yeah, that's it. Just thought I'd share that little piece of info. That's about it really on that bike. So last few little bits on this bike. It's had its oil change done now, and that's all nice, and final drive oil done, that's all nice. And I've just received through the post I did order a new nipple for the throttle connector there, because where this is something you have to consider if you're doing a carburetor upgrade or change and you're moving it, relocating it, resiting it, whatever. The carbs now sit, because they sit to the side of the bike instead of further in. The throttle cable is now too long by about 1 inch. So I've bought a nipple, which will just all I'll need to do is just basically nip that one off, and then attach the new nipple about sort of 1 inch further up, which I'll do. It's not one that you solder on at all. It's actually one that you just it just basically screws on. So it's a fairly low tension cable. So I'll keep an eye on it, make sure it's okay. If it shows any signs of coming under strain, and you know, maladjusting or something, then I'll probably change it to a soldered on one. Personally, from an engineering point of view, I don't see it as necessary. You know, so if you look at sort of things like brake cables on push bikes and things like that, they're all the same. They're just sort of you know, you just screw them into a unit, and you know, you just adjust them if you need to. So that's that really. So that's the throttle. And I honestly don't think there's anything else that needs to be done on this bike, but yeah, it's had so much done to it. Anyone who knows the XV535 will see that that's nothing like the stock standard. So and I've done loads of little repair jobs to it along the way, but I think, yeah, it looks pretty unique. My little flame skull design leather bobber seat, all pretty nice. Smells really nice of leather actually. Yeah, I've mentioned a few of the repairs that I've done. I did fit a new tank cap, that was all corroded, and actually I also fitted a new, where's he gone, there you go, a new ignition barrel. No, you can't really see it too, it's pretty dark down here. New ignition barrel, because the key wouldn't hold the key, and when you've got a side mounted ignition barrel, actually you can't, you know, be taking the key out and put it in your pocket with the bike engine running and stuff. You lose it and all kinds of mayhem would ensue. So I just swapped out the barrels with one of an XV250. In fact, they weren't totally interchangeable. I had to take the parts to pieces and sort of assemble one working part from the 535 bits and the 250 replacement. So all very good. Yeah, there you go. So it's all nice now, all working. I've had it running quite a number of times. Doesn't cough, spit, splutter, hesitate, backfire, nothing. It's really, really nice. Fires straight up, really nice. And yeah, I like it. So yeah, not for everyone, but I think backstreet engineered bikes, I think, are actually quite popular, because And you look on eBay, there's not too many sort of Viragos, or if you take any genre of bike, you don't see too many of them that have been sort of chopped and bobbed. But you see, thousands of examples of stock standard. So yeah, it's quite nice to see, bikes that are just been sort of individualised, if you like. So I have got a new number plate on order actually, because the side mounted plate there I just think is a bit tiny. So I've bought yet another rear light unit, which just I think looks slightly better than the one that's on there, and a slightly larger number plate, which technically is going to still be not road legal, but there you go. I'm not going to obviously not going to take it on the road like that, am I? So there you go. Anyway, hope you enjoy looking at things like this, and if you've got any questions on how to and things like that, just upload a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.